Before you watch this video, I want you to do something. Think about the last time you were completely alone in a dark room late at night and you had that feeling, that inexplicable feeling that something else was there with you. Islamic scholars from the 8th century onward wrote extensively about that feeling. They said it wasn't your imagination. They said the world we live in is shared with an entire civilization of beings made from smokeless fire, invisible to the human eye, living in a dimension that exists alongside ours. They called them the Jinn. And what those scholars wrote about them is so detailed, so specific, and so unsettling that most of it has never made it into the English-speaking world. Today, that changes because there are not one, not two, but 7 distinct types of jinn in Islamic tradition, each with its own nature, its own hierarchy, its own terrifying purpose. And by the end of this video, you will never think about the unseen world the same way again. Before we begin, a note: everything in this video is drawn from classical Islamic scholarship, pre-Islamic Arabian oral tradition, and the Quran itself. This is not horror fiction, this is history. The Quran mentions the jinn in over 29 verses and dedicates an entire chapter, Surah Al-Jinn, specifically to them. Islamic scholars from Al-Jahiz in the 9th century to Ibn Taymiyyah in the 14th wrote encyclopedic accounts of their nature, their society, and their different kinds. What we are going to explore today is that taxonomy, the 7 recognized types of jinn, who they are, what separates them from each other, and what the ancient texts actually say about encountering them. Let us start at the bottom of the hierarchy and work our way up. The Nasnas, the weakest and strangest of all the jinn. In the classical descriptions, particularly in the texts of Al-Qazwini, a 13th century Arab cosmographer who catalogued creatures of the known and unseen world, the Nasnas is described as a being that appears to be half a human, not a deformed human, half of one arm, one leg, one eye, one ear. It hops rather than walks. It haunts desolate places, ruins, abandoned villages, the deep deserts where no sane person travels alone. Some scholars interpreted the Nasnas as a jinn that has degraded, a lesser being that lost its form through centuries of isolation or corruption. What makes the Nasnas particularly disturbing is not its power. It has very little. It is its behavior. The Nasnas, according to multiple independent historical sources, mimics. It calls out in human voices. It imitates the cries of children or the calls of relatives to lure travelers off their path in the dark. The lesson the old scholars drew from the Nasnas: not everything that sounds familiar is safe. The Hinn, rarely discussed in modern literature, which is exactly why they belong in this video. In pre-Islamic Arabian tradition, the Hinn are described as a lower order of jinn, closely associated with animals, particularly dogs, wolves, and serpents. Where other jinn inhabit a remote wilderness, the Hinn were said to live in close proximity to humans, hiding in homes, stables, and livestock pens. The classical accounts describe the Hinn as capable of possessing or inhabiting animals, which explains in the folk tradition of ancient Arabia why certain dogs would howl at nothing, or why a camel would suddenly refuse to move on a road it had traveled 100 times. The Hinn were not considered actively malicious. They were considered the unpredictable, which in many ways is worse. One particularly interesting detail from the text: Arab travelers of the ancient world were advised to say Bismillah, in the name of God, before entering any enclosed space at night, not as superstition, as a deliberate acknowledgement that the space might already be occupied. Now we move into genuinely dangerous territory. The Sila, described across multiple Arab folklore traditions as the greatest shapeshifter among all jinn. capable of taking the perfect form of any human being, with no visible flaw, no tell, not approximately human, not almost convincing, indistinguishable. The Sila does not lurk in deserts or ruins. It walks into towns. It integrates. In some of the most chilling accounts recorded in classical Arabic literature, the Sila takes the form of a traveler's wife, their business partner, their closest friend, and lives among humans for years at a time. The medieval scholars were very specific about one thing. The Sila is patient. It does not strike quickly. It studies, it observes, it waits until the moment of maximum vulnerability before it acts. What is it waiting for? The accounts vary. Some say the Sila feeds on trust, that the betrayal itself is the sustenance. The only tale mentioned consistently across the texts, the Sila in its human form will never completely cross running water. A bridge? Yes, but never a ford. Never a stream crossing without a structure above it. In the ancient world, that was considered a test. You have heard this word before, but not like this. The Ghoul, from the Arabic word gala, meaning to seize. It predates Islam as a concept in Arabian culture. It is one of the oldest named supernatural entities in the Arab world, appearing in pre-Islamic poetry centuries before the 7th century. In the earliest accounts, the Ghoul is not a mindless undead creature. It is a Jinn, specifically a Jinn that preys on the recently dead and on travelers who die alone. The Ghoul is described as dwelling near graveyards and battlefields, not out of decoration, out of purpose. It is drawn to death the way a predator is drawn to the scent of blood. It feeds, according to the old texts, on corpses. But what makes it a jinn rather than simply a monster is its ability to shapeshift, most commonly into the form of the last person it consumed. An 8th century account describes a Bedouin traveler who encountered his recently deceased brother walking toward him on a desert road 3 days after the burial. The brother spoke correctly, remembered details only the real man would know, but when the traveler recited the Quran, the figure dissolved. The Ghoul, unlike the Sila, is not patient. It is hungry, and hunger, the old scholars noted, makes creatures make mistakes. We need to be very precise here, because this is where Islamic theology and folklore intersect in a way most English language sources completely mishandle. The Shaitan, the word from which Satan is derived, is not a singular being in Islamic tradition. It is a category of jinn. Any jinn that has chosen rebellion against God, any jinn that has given itself over entirely to deception and harm, earns the designation of Shaitan. Iblis, the specific entity who refused to bow to Adam and was cast out, is the first and greatest Shaitan, but he is not the only one. The Quran is specific. The Shayateen, the plural, are active in the world. They whisper, they suggest, they do not force. The classical scholars were adamant on this point. A Shaitan cannot compel a human being to do anything. It can only make sin look appealing. Ibn Al-Qayyim, the 14th century Islamic scholar, wrote an entire treatise on the strategies of the Shayateen. He described it less as supernatural temptation and more as a campaign, methodical, patient, and tailored to the individual. The Shaitan, he argued, does not attack your greatest strength. It attacks the crack in the foundation. Now we enter the upper tier. The Ifrit, one of the two most powerful categories of jinn in Islamic tradition, and the one with the most extensive record in both the Quran and classical scholarship. The Ifrit is mentioned by name in the Quran in Surah Al-Naml, the chapter of the ant, when King Solomon asks which of his court can bring him the throne of the Queen of Sheba before he can rise from his seat. It is an Ifrit who answers first, saying, I will bring it to you before you rise from your place, and I am strong and trustworthy for this. That single verse has been the subject of enormous scholarly analysis because it tells us several things at once. The Ifrit is immensely powerful, capable of feats far beyond human or ordinary jinn ability. It exists in a structured society with a sense of honor and obligation, and it was, at that moment, in service to a human king. In the broader tradition, the Ifrit is described as made of the most concentrated smokeless fire, older and denser than lesser jinn. They are associated with underground spaces, caves, ruins, in the space beneath ancient cities. They are territorial, they do not wander. The scholar's advice, recorded across multiple texts: if you discover you are in a space an Ifrit considers its own, leave slowly, without panic, and do not look back. The Mahrid are the apex of the jinn hierarchy. Above the Ifrit, above the Shaitan, above all others stands the Mahrid, where most jinn are associated with fire or earth. The Mahrid is associated with water, the deep ocean, ancient rivers, the places on earth with the most power and the least understanding. The Mahrid are described as the most ancient of all jinn, the ones closest to the original creation, when, according to Islamic tradition, the jinn inhabited the earth thousands of years before the creation of humanity. They remember a world without us. In classical Arabic folklore, the Mahrid is the jinn most associated with the concept of granting wishes, not out of servitude, but because the Mahrid operates on a framework of bargain and consequence. They are not slaves, they are negotiators, and they negotiate from a position of overwhelming power. The accounts of encounters with Mahrid are rare, far rarer than other jinn, and the scholars noted this was by design. The Mahrid do not seek human contact. When they appear in the old stories, it is always because a human has done something significant enough to draw their attention, and that the scholars consistently want is not a position you want to be in. Ibn Arabi, the 12th century Andalusian mystic and scholar, wrote that the Mahrid exists at the boundary between the material and the divine, that encountering one is less like meeting a creature and more like standing at the edge of something incomprehensibly ancient, looking back at you with a total understanding. He did not describe that as comforting. 7 types, 7 natures, one civilization living alongside ours, in a world most of us were never taught to see. The Nasnas, that mimics the voices of people you love. The Hinn, that watches from the shadows of familiar spaces. The Sila, that has learned to wear your face. The Ghoul, that waits where the living stop walking. The Shaitan, that knows exactly which door in you is unlocked. The Ifrit, that has claimed its ground since before your city existed. And the Mahrid, ancient, patient, and watching from the deep. This is not the end of the story, it is the beginning. In the next video, we go deeper into the one jinn that, according to Islamic tradition, was assigned to you personally. The moment you were born, it knows everything about you. It has been with you your entire life. It is called the Qareen. Subscribe so you don't miss it. And if this video opens something for you, share it with someone who is ready to know. I will see you in the next one.